It's time to talk about the most humblest of rumblest, the Royal Rumble. It went down last night. What was the date yesterday? It was January 29th. Here we go, 2022. My guess is giving me hand signals of what the date is. But anyway, it was last night. It was Saturday. There was a Saturday Rumble for the first time in a long time, and it was a fun event. I enjoyed it. I'm Kellen Nitro. Welcome to Nitro's Take on the 2022 WWE Royal Rumble. And without further ado, I will bring him in. Mr. TL, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing great. My voice is a little parched because we had a busy weekend of just parties, and man, there is no fade button on that. That is just a hard cut. It's like, it's on or it's not. All right. Well, hey, It's a new feature. Whatever. It's all good. Yeah. So we had a big busy, or I had it myself, a big busy weekend just getting together with people. And then last night we got together. We watched a Rumble. It was, a fun time over at your place. So a public thank you very much for catering and all the great goodies and stuff that you had. Your people are awesome. So it was great to hang out and chat and, talk shop a little bit. So it was good.
Yeah, man, it was a blast having you over and watching the Rumble with some family and some friends. And it was good stuff.
And I know it's a wrestling channel, but we have to mention it. Shout out to our Canadian boys, Team Canada, the Canadian men's soccer team, just off of a 2-0 win, a 2-0 win. It's soccer, so I got to say the 2-0. A 2-0 win against those pesky Yankees from the USA. Anytime we can beat the US in something, it's good. So
that's right. World Cup qualifiers, and Canada is still undefeated on top of the group and putting a little bit more distance now between them, Mexico, and the US.
Yes, love it. Great stuff. They got a game against El Salvador on Wednesday, I believe. That's the next one. So, and free points. Just gotta get that free points.
Sounds like they get 3 points on the way to Qatar for that World Cup.
For that big World Cup party. Love it. But this is the wrestling channel. It is Nitromaniac TV's Wrestling Unlimited. So we have to talk about, well, the most humble Rumble, the Royal Rumble, which happened last night, Saturday, January 29th, 2022, from the St. Louis, or the Dome in St. Louis, or the Dome at St. Louis, I believe. It's the former TWA Dome in which the Rams used to play before they moved out to LA again, to the new stadium out there. So there it is. As per tradition, here on the channel, I'll see if I can do this because my voice is a little beat up today, but we'll go.
Oh, mine too.
Undertaker! And it's up there. So at the bottom of the screen is the Nitromaniac TV Undertaker with all of your news and facts from last night's pay-per-view spectacular. Oh, I can't call it pay-per-view anymore. Premium live event.
Oh, so fancy.
Hurdy-durdy-dur. So, yeah, exactly. Right on. And TL, for disclosure, you see TL looking off the camera a little bit and that stuff. He's got them NFL playoffs happening on his side of the screen too, and that stuff. And there might be a result here coming shortly between Bengals and Chiefs. No, nothing.
No, they're going to overtime. The Chiefs kicked the field goal. It is tied at 24, and they're in overtime.
All right. There we go. So we'll start breaking down the wrestling stuff, and then if anything interesting happens, we'll let you know. So there we go. Thoughts in general about the show, thinking back to last night before we get going. What's your opening thoughts on it?
The thing is that I had a blast watching the Rumble with friends and stuff. We had one of my buddies who does hilarious impressions. It's had me rolling the whole night. The drunken Ric Flair, I wish I could imitate because that thing is so stupid. It was amazing, but like, it's hard to like. You know what it's like when you watch a really bad movie, but you have good company. It's still a good time.
Yeah.
And on the flip side, if you watch a really good movie, but you're in a bad mood or you're on a bad date,
Yeah.
It's no longer a good movie. It's really the company you keep can really change how you feel about certain events. So the event itself for me, I had a blast.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess if you're looking at it from like just a straight the event, like breaking it down,
Mm-hmm.
a little weak. I think is a little weak.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, most of the fun was my buddy doing his impressions on this side.
Yeah, so if you're looking for the usual detailed analyses for the Royal Rumble, as we do with the rest of the WWE pay-per-views and that stuff on the channel, probably don't expect that today because I was at the same party and I was having a great time myself. So it was a lot of fun, just basically, just watching the Rumble with good people and see what was happening and that stuff. We were wowed by several instances during the show, and we'll get to it as we talk about matches, so on and so forth. So we'll jump right into it right now. We'll talk about the opener from last night, which right away was for the Universal Championship. Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins, or Seth freaking Rollins, whatever you want to call it. And the runtime was 14:25. The Usos were banned from ringside due to a stipulation. I think it was last week on SmackDown, not this past week on SmackDown, so a couple weeks ago. But anyway, we knew that the Usos were banned from ringside for a while in this thing. A disqualification finish. Basically, if I remember correctly, it was the submission hold that Roman had on Seth. Seth got to the ropes, and Roman wouldn't break the hold. And so the 5 count comes into effect there, and Seth Rollins gets the disqualification win, but does not walk out with the belt, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, let's go to a few of the details.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
One, of course, Roman did not have the Usos by his side. He came out alone. He came out first, which is not usually the norm.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a reason for this. Seth freaking Rollins comes out with the Shield theme song, with the Shield gear on, from the crowd, old school. He's playing those mind games against Roman Reigns. And he comes out through the crowd, but he's got his like new Seth Rollins cocky ass swagger.
The little swag happening.
I do hate Rollins. I hate how much he changes his character. I hate his voice. I hate that he doesn't sell enough and that he's a little bit careless in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
But that was a nice little that was a nice little gimmick.
It was a good pop.
Mind games
it was a good pop
against Roman Reigns.
Mm-hmm.
And in return, Reigns played it off perfectly. Like his subtle acting is actually gotten very, very good, Roman Reigns. The body language, the expressions, doesn't even need to say words. His face and his just emotions, it's displayed perfectly. You know what he's thinking and what he's feeling in those moments without saying a word. He's become really, really good at that.
Mm-hmm.
And the match was pretty decent. They had a good tilt. Rollins almost won on a few occasions. And he did something very important, though, is that he got Roman Reigns over as a heel.
Mm-hmm.
Because the crowd was behind Seth. Firmly behind Seth.
Yeah.
Which is a little bit opposite of what's been going on lately.
Exactly.
Where Roman has become more of like a likable bad guy. It'd be like, this guy's really, really cool.
Yeah.
But the fact that he wouldn't break the hold, even though, they did a great spot where Roman has this submission hold on Seth Rollins. They have the hand dangling. The referee picks up Rollins' hand, and as it's falling to the ground, it touches the ropes. And he grabs it. I'm like, that's a nice spot. That's creative. But then Roman doesn't break the hold after the 5 count. He just keeps on to try and kill Seth Rollins, which, if you hold a chokehold on someone long enough, they might die. So attempted murder, and
legalized it at sporting events, but
please, Roman, stop.
yeah.
He's going to die.
Mhm.
Like, maybe be a little bit more urgent, or be like a UFC referee where you throw the guy right off of him.
Yeah, you got to Herb Dean that crap.
Yes.
Yeah, get in there and start tossing bodies. Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Herb Dean, John McCarthy, that shit. Like, throw the guy off. Don't just plead with him.
Yeah.
Have
So
a
WWE,
little bit of...
that's another thing too. Is I don't know what little Charles Robinson was going to do in that situation. He was the ref for that one, but yeah, definitely need a bigger, beefier ref for that type of deal. Would be good. But yeah, it was a it was a high energy opening contest. I found that there were like the mind games off the top with Rollins and that stuff kind of harkened back to his first heel turn back in 2015 when he was the absolute master of that crap, was doing all the mind games and everything. So that was kind of cool to see that. And the ending is again kind of exploits the fact that Roman, as powerful and as dominant as he is, he can lose control in a situation. So, and it did get him. It is, as you said, it did establish him as a heel. It did establish him as because going into this match, it was basically two heels going head to head with each other. The problem was in the weeks ahead of time and that stuff, nobody established, which side were they going to be on. They were just, it's all shades of gray, right? So, yeah, I was going through that match last night and the finish of it and that stuff. The finish to me, I hate when title matches, especially on the big 4 pay-per-views, end that way. It kind of gives, like, for your big 4, you have to have, definitive pin or submission decisions. I mean, you could have probably have gotten, well, maybe you couldn't have. I don't know. I'll pitch something to you for the end of that match. If Seth doesn't make it to the ropes and just falls limp and Roman chokes him out, is that a more definitive finish, do you think? Does that help in any way, or did the finish really even matter in that situation?
No, the finish doesn't matter. And the thing is, you mean in the big 4, you want a definitive finish? Not so much at Royal Rumble, because your Royal Rumble is to set up your WrestleMania.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So having a bit of controversy in your Rumble just furthers the plot along that it'll hopefully finish at WrestleMania.
It's January, not March. Gotcha. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
okay.
That's why it doesn't really matter.
Cool. No, right on. I was a line of thinking that I was kind of exploring down, last night, driving back after the show and that stuff, Yeah. You listened to, the WWF Aggression CD, you're driving back to the North End, you're thinking, oh, okay, maybe that match could have went a different way. Yeah, this and that or whatever, just cracking it while Method Man's, rapping, you smell what the Rock is cooking or whatever. So it's all good stuff. So, but yeah, so that basically, that was the opening match of the night. We go on to our next contest, which was the 30-woman Royal Rumble contest. And this match itself was won by Ronda Rousey. The runtime for the Ladies Rumble this year was 59 minutes and 40 seconds. And she wins by last eliminating Charlotte Flair, who could be a potential dance partner for her at WrestleMania. We will find out tomorrow night on Monday Night Raw as you watch this, because Ronda Rousey is scheduled to make an appearance on Monday Night Raw, where it is kind of decided upon the point by the fans, at least, that she may declare on one show or the other who she goes after. I don't know. They may decide to stretch this out just even a little bit, and then maybe before the Jeddah Elimination Chamber stuff in February, we'll get a definitive answer so they can have at least, for the women's Elimination Chamber match, the decision on who will be going for what title shot at WrestleMania. Who's who's going to be the new number one contender, because that's the way the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view works now is, okay, whatever 2 champions do not have opponents for WrestleMania, that's what it'll be. So thoughts on Ronda winning the Rumble?
It was a good surprise entrance. Didn't quite see it coming. I didn't think she'd ever actually come back to WWE. That was pretty cool. Rumble itself, it was a good mix of some old names coming back, a few new names getting into the mix, a lot of their main standard stars getting their moments within the Rumble. I did realize it did miss the element of a very big, strong woman in the Rumble, because now they don't have Nia Jax. They didn't bring in an Awesome Kong.
Yes.
They don't have like a big body presence, and Doudrop was in the other match.
That's right. Yeah,
they didn't have like a big body presence, that giant in the Women's Rumble. It was kind of missed a little bit, because like usually in Rumbles, someone enters in with a big pop, they get off a few of their signature moves, and then they just fold into the mix of the Rumble. That didn't quite happen here. You're just gonna get people, they got their pop off their entrance, and they came in the Rumble and just joined the match until they kind of fell to the wayside. There wasn't like a flow or a story going on within the Women's Rumble.
And I think part of that was the weird decision a few weeks ago for them to announce all 30 Women's Rumble participants on SmackDown a couple weeks out. That was kind of that was a strange deal, and it kind of led to me thinking that, oh, okay, there might be some surprise entrance in the Men's Rumble and that stuff. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. But yeah, I can totally, I totally agree with you with that. Is that the element and surprise at times and that stuff in that Rumble really wasn't there. It really didn't, get to it, right? So,
yeah, and they had a lot of their big stars, like my wifey Sasha Banks got eliminated way too early. Bianca Belair got eliminated way too early as well. There was just a lot of weird. It wasn't structured properly, if that makes sense.
So we got to see the trope again last night. Why is the point to the WrestleMania sign still a thing? That is just why. Is it just a Rumble tradition now? Is it like the
Rumble tradition?
Is it just like the captain of? Yeah, is it just like the captain of a Stanley Cup winner walking out and lifting the cup up over their head now because they've seen other people do it?
Yep. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah. So, and talking about this sign, we'll get to the sign a little bit later on. Apparently there was an issue with the sign last night, and it was very comical to see and start reading the tweets on that and everything. So, what do you think? Is it going to be Charlotte that Ronda picks, or is it going to be Becky that Ronda picks?
I don't know. All I know is she's going to get one. Bianca Belair's going to get the other.
Oh, so you're calling Bianca winner for the Elimination Chamber already?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Also, there was no return of Bayley or Asuka in this Rumble.
Right.
So, kind of a disappointment, but at the same time, if they're injured, they're injured. You can't bring them back. Hurt.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. Both Bayley and Trish Stratus were sipping tea on Instagram last night with screenshots of Charlotte Flair getting dumped over the top by Ronda Rousey. So they both did the exact same post where they kind of kicked back in their easy chair watching Rumble sipping tea. So I don't know what the emphasis of that was or is, but very interesting, at least.
I also just noticed Alexa Bliss was not in the Rumble.
No, she was not. That's a good call. Yeah, we were
packaging her or what?
We were expecting something because they've been running on Monday Night Raw for about 3 or 4 weeks now, these vignettes of Alexa in the psychiatrist's office, basically trying to be, they're trying to figure out what this relationship is, why she's got, this, relationship with an inanimate object with the doll and stuff like that. But no Alexa Bliss whatsoever in the Rumble. So yeah, it's very interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, I'm good to move on. By the way, in the real world here,
yes,
the Bengals are going to the Super Bowl.
Oh, that's an upset. There we go. So Bengals are going to the Super Bowl. So one half of that equation is solved for football WrestleMania.
Exactly. What's on the next match?
What is next? All right. Going to look at the thing here. Oh, yes. The Raw Women's Championship was on the line next, where we had Becky Lynch take on Dewdrop, or as I call her, the Dewdrop. It ran 13 minutes even, with Becky Lynch defeating Dewdrop via pinfall. This was kind of a match put in a dead spot, I found, right after the Rumble. A lot of people were, we were mentioning it even at the party, that match was kind of in the death spot. It was a very, it was a bathroom break spot. It was, let's go get more snacks type spot and see what happens later on. Nothing against either competitor. I just don't think that they spent a lot of time building Dewdrop up to be the babyface that she could have been here, like they did with Liv Morgan throughout the fall, and finally fed her to Becky. They really just kind of threw that thing out there. There's not really any other way to say it. So, it was a match. It was a decent match, but yeah.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And you know what? To be honest, I went back afterwards, actually this morning, and rewatched that match to give it a fair shake.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And that's the thing, is that it was booked in such a bad spot of the card.
Mm-hmm.
The crowd was dead. People weren't as invested in it. They got up to go get their snacks and their drinks.
Mm-hmm.
I went to go reheat the pizza for everybody. It was just booked in a really bad spot for both of them to work from underneath to get the crowd over. Dewdrop did not have the character development to be in that spot for anyone to care. It was just kind of like a mini showcase thing for Becky to be on the show.
Mm-hmm.
They did a good job for what they were given, but for what they were given, that was too many. The circumstance, you couldn't overcome that.
Exactly, for sure. That was just where they were on the card, where it was scheduled, and I think it was just that basically is what was, like you said, what was given, and they took every bit of what they had, and can't fault them for that. No. Maybe they get a follow-up match, in a couple of weeks on Raw. Hell, maybe even tomorrow night on Raw. That's the one thing about this being a Saturday Rumble for the first time in a long time. We're in this awkward dead space where we have never been before, where we have like a whole day between the Rumble finishing and then Monday Night Raw starting on, Monday. And it's like, okay, what do we do now?
Yeah.
Well, we're coming to you live, but it's like, all right. Great.
I think it gives us today to just rest, to talk about the show, and to just give a break of wrestling for a little bit.
Yep. So you are a fan of the Saturday starts for the Big Four.
Loved it.
Mm-hmm.
Because you know what? It became a hangout night. Didn't have to worry about going to work tomorrow.
Yep. Stay out late. Exactly. Because what did we do after watching Rumble last night? We went on a network and watched old Rumble. So there we go. Well, then we watched the dual matches between Walter and Dragunov from NXT UK and NXT, which man, that is like meat chopping. That is crazy. That's all that is.
Next level brutality.
Crazy next level brutality. Yep, exactly. No, it was good stuff. For sure. It is plug time. So before we continue with any other stuff on this live stream, I first would like to welcome everybody, if you're tuning in late, to the Nitro Steak Live for the 2022 WWE Royal Rumble. We're recapping it. I'm Kellen Nitro. Over in the other box is Mr. TL, taking some time out. It's been a good big sports day already here, talking about Team Canada beating Team USA, talking about, the big football stuff happening. We know the Bengals are one half of the Super Bowl equation now. We wait and see what team comes out of Cali to see what happens next year, whether it'll be North Cali or So Cali going to the Super Bowl, and we'll see what's up. tinyurl.com/NetroManiacTV. If you dig this type of analysis or this type of content, float us a subscribe. We are on YouTube. And I'm going to keep it under a little bit of wraps right now, but stay tuned. We might have some more options at your disposal to consume Nitromaniac TV content. Just keep it under your hat for a second. Just for a little bit. Just take it in there and just kind of sneak it up. That's what we're going to do. Also, give a great shout out to a great site that does great stuff. Twitch.tv/lovewrestling.ca. They were all over the Royal Rumble stuff as well. And they have a ton of opinion and content up over there as well. And go back through their back library and check out their podcasts and shows and whatnot. They are a great people. All right, back to the Rumble. Analysis, not deception. Why was I thinking deception? That's weird. It's been a long weekend. We are now up to the singles match for the WWE Championship. So this was Brock Lesnar, the WWE Champion, walking in. This is Bobby Lashley, the challenger for the WWE Championship. And this match went 10 minutes and 15 seconds. And Bobby Lashley defeats Brock Lesnar by pinfall. The big reveal is Paul Heyman was working for Roman Reigns the entire time. So Roman comes out and costs Brock the match against Bobby Lashley. And Paul Heyman walks out with Roman Reigns. And Bobby Lashley gets the pinfall, the 1-2-3, and the WWE Championship. And Paul and Roman think, hey, we're rid of him. Awesome. We'll get to that a little bit later on. But your thoughts on that match?
The match itself, this, of course, could have been, Lashley versus Brock is a WrestleMania caliber match.
Yes.
Like, those two should meet at a very big event and have a hellacious match. This was not that. This was just in place to set up further the storyline between Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. So, for anybody that was saying this should have been at WrestleMania, but we're getting it now, Royal Rumble, not really. We got cheated here.
Yes.
Because, again, it was only 10 minutes. We got a taste of it. They were suplexing each other back and forth, dropping each other on their heads and necks. I was like, okay, this is awesome. This is some like amateur wrestling stuff. Let's see some more. And just when you think you're going to see some more, here comes Roman Reigns to interfere in the match when the referee goes down after getting kicked in the head from an F5. And Roman's in the ring. He looks at Paul Heyman. He says, give me the belt. And Heyman hands him the belt, which then Roman uses to knock out Brock Lesnar, give Bobby the pin, 1, 2, 3, and Heyman walks off with Roman Reigns. So, yeah, we kind of got cheated on this one. I don't know if we'll really get to see a true match between Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley that we want to see. But it is what it is, and this was just another point in the road for the story of Brock and Roman.
That's right. And we finally get this is the workaround. We're starting to finally see the workaround that they've had because Roman couldn't wrestle at day one. So this might have been, for all we know, this might have been the creative for day one. Had they had the match and Paul would have cost Brock the match at day one, to go back with Roman or something like that. So that's the whole big thing. And maybe Lesnar is entered into the men's rumble and wins it anyway, as we will talk about here coming up later on in the show. But this is the workaround. We finally get a chance to see this all in action and all kind of played out. You know what? I don't have a problem with it at all. I thought that this was, acceptable to very good type situation. Bobby Lashley as WWE champion has proven to be a good thing, if not a great thing. So they get he can go back to being the heel with MVP, running Raw and running the WWE championship. And then you can feed him if you want to, again, Drew, or you can feed him somebody on, the Raw roster, like an AJ Styles or something like that for Mania for the championship.
It'll probably be Big E because
Big E.
They never finished the rivalry.
They never did. Nope. That's right. Big E, exactly. So tons of stuff, tons of options there. I really can't wait to see in what direction they decide to go with it. Now, of course, that will, when we get to the men's rumble, the Raw side is the one that probably doesn't have the number one contender for Mania set yet. So I'm thinking that that's probably going to be your main event at this thing in Jeddah next month for Elimination Chamber. Is one of the chamber matches will probably be for number one contendership for the WWE title at WrestleMania. So
yeah,
there we go. So that sets that up. And we just roll forward and roll right along as the card continues. We had a mixed tag up next on the show. Did I pull a graphic for that? I did not. Wow. Okay.
That's it. Go home. You're drunk.
I dropped the ball. I thought I was good with my graphics. I guess not. Okay. But anyway, it was Miz and Maurice versus Edge and Beth Phoenix. And this contest went 12 minutes and 30 seconds. And Edge and Beth Phoenix get the feel-good win as they both hit Beth's finisher on the Miz and Maurice for, it wasn't a double pinfall, but Edge got the pin on Miz after that. So, it was, the good guy couple beat the bad guy couple. The crowd rejoiced. It is what it is. And I think now you could probably put the Edge-Miz rivalry to bed. Move them on to different dance partners now at this point.
Yeah, the rivalry sucked. It had no purpose. The build-up was stupid. Maurice in the ring is the drizzling shits.
She wasn't good at her peak. We'll put it that way.
Yeah, she wasn't good in her, when she was at her peak form. And now she's so far past it. It's just like, golly.
Beth looked good, though. Beth looked okay.
Yeah, but she was always a very strong wrestler.
Yeah.
They finished both with a tandem glam slam on their opponents.
There we go.
Beth and Edge hitting a glam slam on Ms. Maurice.
Yes.
I don't know what else to say about this one. This was just their typical WWE gimmicky match to finish a storyline that had no purpose. I don't know who this really made happy.
Probably just fans that were invested in Edge. That's it. Edge got another W.
Who was invested in this? This is the big problem.
This match itself, nobody. Yeah.
And I've been saying for years now, I don't know why the WWE doesn't understand. The Miz is not a threat. The Miz is not taken seriously. It's not a matter of whether or not he's not good. It's that he's not believable. It's the same reason why when The Rock and Cena had a tag team match at Survivor Series once upon a time, they took on The Miz and R-Truth, and nobody cared because The Miz is not to be taken seriously. He's a joke. And this match, he's like the comedy wrestler, but he's the villain of a comedy act. So what is there to take seriously? Why should anybody watch this? Why should anybody be surprised or invested? No reason for me. Your thoughts?
No, I echo the same thoughts and sentiments there. There's not really a whole much else to add to that other than that was basically booked to be a spectacle one-time type deal because every time you get to a big four pay-per-view, you have to have at least one spectacle big-time type, big-time Legends return type deal thing because Vince thinks that's vogue or in vogue for some odd reason. So, it didn't really need to be on a card. That could have been something that was a main event on Monday Night Raw and easily forgotten or something. But, it was there. It happened. The right result happened. that's that. So cool.
It's stupid.
Excellent.
My whole thing is, you get in wrestling, like in sports, you don't get to write a script. You know what I mean? It's
Yep.
sports are real. The outcomes matter and the wins matter and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
In wrestling, you get to write things and you get to script things. Why would you write a story that doesn't matter? That has no direction, that has no purpose for its outcome? Why would you do that? It's a waste of people's time. WWE needs to stop doing this shit.
Yeah, because you figure if they kind of catered more, I don't want to say real life centric, but at least cut out some of the real hokey stuff and everything, they still, with all their cuts, have the best roster in professional wrestling right now to do something with. And they could probably, get a higher, just with normal, hey, let's not insult the viewer type booking. They could probably get, some decent numbers and some decent pay rates and so on and so forth. So that's will be my concluding thought on that segment. It happened. We're over it. Edge and Beth got the win. Hooray, whatever. Quick shout out. If you guys want to leave a comment or a question, go ahead and throw them up on either the comments or questions tab wherever you're watching this, because we're streaming basically all over the place right now. We got the YouTube stream going. We have the Facebook stream going through facebook.com/Nitromaniac TV. And I am just getting random text messages now at this point from everybody. So I apologize if I'm getting distracted here and that stuff. But okay, so I've been talking to people throughout the weekend. This is a quick aside to, and it means absolutely nothing to the show, but this is just a quick aside. But I've been just talking to people throughout the weekend and that stuff, just catching up with friends, saying how they're doing and whatever. Yesterday before the Rumble, I answered a whole bunch of questions from about 3 or 4 different people on 3 or 4 different things, right? And I had a couple of questions that I threw back at a couple of people. I didn't get an answer from them, so I figured, okay, well, they'll talk to me a little bit later on and that stuff. Well, now I'm getting notifications that they're talking to me during the stream of all things. It's like, I can't win. And it's distracting me. I'm like, So,
is it anything wrestling centric?
No. It's just Kellen just hanging out with his friends type centric. That's it. So
you tell your friends that now's not the time.
That's right. This is business time now. Serious business. So that's awesome stuff. That's great. I appreciate people. I appreciate you guys that are watching. I appreciate all my friends and everything and so on and so forth. So it's all great stuff. But we got one more match to really talk about here. We've got the 30-man Royal Rumble match, first World Championship match shot, main event shot, whatever, for WrestleMania coming up in Dallas. And it was a surprise entrant. It was a Brock Lesnar winning the 30-man Royal Rumble and the runtime of 51 minutes and 10 seconds. So yes, this was almost 10 minutes shorter than the Ladies Rumble, according to Wikipedia, and last eliminated Drew McIntyre over the top rope. And there we go. Roman and Brock is set, basically. I would think that that's your main event for night 2 for WrestleMania.
Sure, why not?
You are not enthralled by this, I can see. Exactly.
Well, I mean, this has just been the Brock show for so long.
Mm-hmm.
People are starting to get a bit fatigued of seeing the same names and the same people go at it.
Mm-hmm.
This Rumble had so many names that didn't resonate with the audience, especially like the group that we were watching with. Guy after guy would come out, and everyone's like, "Who the hell is that?"
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Just the lack of star power in this Rumble was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you didn't have Cesaro or Finn Balor show up in the Rumble at all.
So at the same time that they had confirmed the 30 entrants for the Women's Rumble, there were people figuring it out and that stuff, and then people would slowly declare, for the Men's Rumble shortly thereafter. Going into this match on the weekend, there was something like 11 or 12 spots still vacant by a lot of people's accounts on what was happening and that stuff. And, instead of bringing in, star power or, a legend here and there and that stuff, they filled it up with, mid-card athletes from both shows, opening card athletes from both shows, stuff like that. As much as I love watching Ricochet in the ring, I don't think Ricochet was going to win the Royal Rumble. I don't think Hap Corbin or Madcap Moss had a shot at winning the Royal Rumble. And it was weird as the kids would say, trying to explain that to the non-wrestling watching folks that were part of this thing last night that we were all at, what a Madcap Moss was and what a Hap Corbin was, or Happy Corbin was.
Yeah, it was like, who's Austin Theory?
Yeah.
Who's Chad Gable?
Yeah.
Who's Otis? Who's Damian Priest? Like, the WWE has not done a good job of getting over their new stars.
That's right.
They have no star power whatsoever. And at one point, all of these people are in the ring at the same time.
Yes. You have to try to explain about 6 or 8 months worth of WWE programming in like 2 minutes. That is double Black Diamond wrestling fandom right there.
And one of our guys had picked Jinder Mahal to win the Rumble, who wasn't.
And he wasn't even there.
He was so disappointed.
They hindered
Elias.
Jinder.
Yeah. Elias didn't make any sort of return.
Nope.
Their two Spanish guys did not appear. Remember Humberto Carrillo?
Yes, and Angel Garza.
Yeah.
They weren't in it. I thought for sure that one or the other or both would be in that for sure. They weren't.
No Apollo Cruz or his
no Commander Aziz. What was going on there?
Yeah, no giant spots, nothing.
So haven't seen anything today explaining those type of absences. I know that they supposedly had a all hands on deck type attitude for this pay-per-view, because if participants came up COVID positive, they wanted to quickly replace them with other people on the roster, and so on and so forth. But the Rumble field this year, not a very star-studded Rumble field. I mean, we'll talk quickly about the celebrity involvements. You had Johnny Knoxville in because he had a program going with Sami Zayn on SmackDown, a cross-promotional thing to help promote the movie coming out. And he dumps out Sami Zayn, and then he himself gets quickly dumped out right thereafter of the Rumble. So I don't have a problem with that whatsoever. That's kind of like, once Drew Carey entered the Rumble in 2001, we kind of realized that, hey, Vince will probably throw a celebrity in there every once in a while. That's fine. That's good.
Pete Rose, baby.
And Bad Bunny, to me, I consider him NXT. So it's all good.
Yeah, there's a major problem if Bad Bunny is the most recognizable person in your Rumble.
Yeah, that's a good point. To outside people. Yeah, I mean, he was good. Again, he did his job.
He did a great job as a wrestler, and this is really scary, by the way. He's so good at wrestling. It's weird.
It is.
He killed that Bunny Destroyer, too.
He loves those the Bunny Destroyer. He loves it. Loves those Destroyer / Code Red / Flippy Pile Drivers.
Yes. Well,
good stuff. So, yeah. So
Rumble was lacking star power, lacked any emphasis, oomph, if you will. It was mediocre.
Very mediocre. Accomplished what it needed to accomplish with getting Brock into the main event scene again, and basically, again, we talked about the weirdness of having a babyface Brock Lesnar. I'm hoping now that when he absolutely snaps, it's at WrestleMania against Roman, because that would be freaking epic,
Yeah.
It might be an anticlimactic end to the match if, say, he snaps and he gets disqualified or whatever. But if then it's, burn everything. I want Brock Lesnar tearing down parts of the set on his way out, if that's the case,
Yeah.
like tear the arena down at that point. and then show up the next night on Raw and continue tearing the arena down.
I want Brock Lesnar to have burn it down t-shirts.
Just to steal something.
That would be great. Seth.
Just stealing it out. Yeah, exactly. For sure. No, it was great stuff. It was, accomplished what it needed to. It was I was entertained. Well, sports entertained for 4 hours. Maybe it was the company I was with. So
definitely.
Whatever. I think we all did our part and made the show better, but
absolutely. The comments, the impressions, the laughter, the food, everything, man.
Let's go into our fun facts. So we will tell the Undertaker to rest in peace, and we will bring up the Undertaker fun facts for the evening. And so these are facts that I just dug up during the Rumble, getting the stream ready today and that stuff, and last night too. Of course, 22nd Royal Rumble, or the 2022 Royal Rumble, was the 35th annual Royal Rumble. And here are your Iron Man winners. Oh, there you go. But here are your Iron Man winners for the evening, as I try to find where that is. There we go. So in the Women's Rumble, Liv Morgan was the longest participant in the Women's Rumble. She finally got tossed out by Brie Bella. She had a runtime of 37 minutes and 20 seconds. AJ Styles was the Iron Man winner for the Men's Rumble this year. He was in there for 29 minutes and 6 seconds. He also had the most amount of eliminations in the match with 6. Lesnar, who won the match, only had 5. And the Ladies Rumble, Charlotte Flair had the most amount of eliminations with 5. So there's your Rumble by the numbers there. All the stats. Nothing really to add. That's it. So stats are stats. They are what they are. All right. It's time to rate this thing out of 10. TL, Mr. TL, you are my guest as always. So I always allow the guests to go first. What will you give the show out of 10?
All right. So, the evening spent was a 12 out of 10.
Yes.
That was fun. That was so much
fun. 1 second. I just want to flash 12 out of 10 for a second.
Nice.
It looks good. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, the evening was a 12 out of 10. And that's saying something because the pay-per-view, the special event, whatever,
premium live event,
was a generous 3 out of 10.
Okay.
There's no reason to go back and watch this because the purpose of both Rumbles was to further along storylines. One being Brock Lesnar's, the other being Ronda Rousey. Yes, again, 2 MMA people are going to run professional wrestling. That being said, there's no reason to go back for the Rumbles. There's no reason to go back for the singles matches.
Mm-hmm.
This was a lackluster pay-per-view, but like I said, with the right company, the worst event can still be the most fun thing ever. So, but yeah, 3 out of 10 event.
My rating for the company and just the sitting, the live experience of it is 7,100 out of 10 because my finger slipped on the 100 key. So and that's what we got. No, I had a great time live. It was great. The food was fantastic. The company was good, and the pop was extra fizzy. And I always like extra fizzy pop. Yes.
Shout out to SodaStream.
I love that stuff. It's good. All right. Now for the actual nuts and bolts of the pay-per-view itself, I am going to give it a 5 out of 10. I think it's neither terrible nor exceptional. I think it did the job, but it's the washer on the pipe. It's just there to basically say, okay, we had a unfortunate situation with day one. We didn't get the main event advertised that we wanted off the ground. So here is our workaround. Finally, everybody's healthy. We don't need to work around anymore. So now here is our initial plan. And going forward, that's what we got. We've got 2 main events, basically, well, 1 3/4 main event set. We still haven't figured out what Ronda's going to do with her title shot. Probably Charlotte Flair, but we'll wait and see with that. Find out tomorrow night on Raw what she's going to do.
Okay.
Go
Now,
for it.
that being said, I'm going to ask you a few questions here. Would you recommend this Rumble, this whole event, would you recommend this to anybody to go back and watch if they haven't seen it?
No.
Okay. Is there anything in this Rumble pay-per-view that you saw that you've never seen before?
Not really.
Not
I'm
really.
just trying. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Not really.
Nothing that comes right to mind right away. I'm sure if I dug, maybe, but.
Is there anything about this event that would cause you to go back and watch it again in its entirety?
If I was doing the event in its entirety, no. But I might go back and rewatch the Rumble matches just because when January comes around, I like watching old Rumble matches.
Okay, fine. That being said, of all the Rumble matches you've ever seen, is this, of the 35 that are out there, is this
35 plus
top 1/3?
Yeah. So it'd be 35 plus just because we had Greatest Royal Rumble and there's other Rumble matches as well that
those don't count.
Happen.
I'm talking about the.
But if you're talking Royal Rumble at the event and that stuff and everything, though they probably wouldn't be the first ones that would come to mind to watch it. Like, I mean, like if I was doing a piece for the channel where I was talking about, celebrity involvements in the Royal Rumble, of course, you'd have to go back and, grab the still frames and talk about Knoxville coming in and doing the angle with Sami Zayn and so on and so forth. And then Bad Bunny coming in and getting a huge pop as this was his first appearance since his massive WrestleMania moment. That stuff the year prior and that stuff in ring. And that might be the only thing. And then, one other thing that we neglected to talk about too, to me, it still blows my mind that they were allowed between WWE and Impact to have a Impact champion in a Royal Rumble. That is still, to me, that's kind of groundbreaking stuff to see Mickie James walk out with the Impact Knockouts Championship and to have WWE announcers acknowledge that, hey, she is the Impact Knockouts champion. There's this whole other league of wrestling outside of our hemisphere that she's representing. To me, that was kind of like, wow, really? That's strange. But I don't know if that's a one-off or if that's going to be a continued thing. But that's an interesting quirk.
But for me, it's funny because it's like it happening kind of proved that it doesn't mean as much.
No, it's like what I talked about at the Meltzers in the Meltzer stream, is that the Forbidden Door angle. Like I expected when this was popping off, hey, we're going to get some wild stuff here because everybody's hurting for cash. So, of course, if you want dream matches, this is going to probably be the time you're going to see your dream matches. And we haven't seen it yet. Like the most landmark thing off of this is so far across the board anywhere is, I don't know, a few appearances from New Japan people on Dynamite and what we saw last night with Mickie James in the Rumble.
Right. Now, I was asking you a line of questioning. There was a purpose to that.
Okay.
Now,
by being psychoanalyzed.
Yes. Now, this was what, a 4-hour pay-per-view?
Yeah, I believe so. I haven't looked back at the total time on the PVR, but I'd hazard to guess that it was like 4 and 15 or something.
Well, it went from like 5 to 9 in our time zone, right?
Yeah, so 4 hours.
Okay. Here's the moments of note. Rollins comes out in Shield gear.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ronda comes back.
Okay, big. Yeah.
Roman reunites with Heyman and screws over Brock.
Okay.
Bad Bunny comes out for some reason.
Surprise celebrity involvement. Okay.
Shane McMahon comes out for some reason.
We didn't even talk about that. That's how landmark it was. So we glossed it over.
And Brock wins the Rumble by entering number 30.
As a surprise entrant.
As a surprise. Yeah. Those 6 pieces, and we'll count it as 7 as Mickie James comes in as an Impact champion wearing the belt.
Yeah.
Do you even have half an hour of content with those 7 moments?
You might be lucky to have an hour.
No.
If you
were
stretch
lucky to
it.
have 15 minutes. 15 minutes with those 7 moments, because once the entrance is over with the Shield,
yeah,
that's 2 minutes.
You mean in total, total experience time and that stuff? Okay,
Yes.
yeah, that's fine. I thought as if you were like trying to measure it out for a television show or something like that. Well, yeah,
No. Of actual experience,
but actual experience and that stuff, yeah, maybe be lucky if you had 20 minutes there. That's it.
Yeah, I'd call it 15 or less.
Okay.
So in a 4-hour show, you've got 15 or less minutes of watchable, noteworthy stuff. I think that's a below 5 out of 10 event. If you break it down that way.
Okay.
That's just my rationale.
All right. See, I have it 5 out of 10 because I neither hated it nor loved it. So it was like right up the middle for me. So yeah, I can't deviate on either way. So anyways, last call for questions and comments. Make sure you get them in. We will try and get those questions and comments, so on and so forth. Morehouse, who unfortunately couldn't be here, but he did watch the Rumble last night, mentioned to me that he himself did not think that the Rumble was very good. He probably would have leaned maybe towards your rating a little bit out of 10. I didn't get an exact rating from him. Maybe he'll eventually send it up, and I'll post it on Twitter, what he said or whatever. But or he can post it himself at Dat House Canada for his out of 10 rating if he wants to or whatever. But yeah, and he said that man, Vince, what was the exact quote? Oh yeah, there it is right here. Man, Vince Vince using the UFC as his favorite developmental is the flex of 2022, isn't it? And it's like, oh well, hey, there we go. We had the whole ECW developmental nod back in 2004 with Guerrero and Benoit. We had the OVW developmental nod in 2005 with Batista and John Cena. Maybe this is the UFC nod in 2022 with Ronda Rousey and Brock Lesnar. Who knows?
Which they've already done.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He's done that nod since 2016 or 17 or something like that, before the pandemic.
Yeah.
So this ain't new.
Well, the only fresh thing that I see out of all this is if indeed it goes Ronda Becky, which I doubt it will, but if it goes that direction, we finally get the payoff from the end of WrestleMania 35 and the table spot and Becky winning the title and Ronda almost losing her pinky and stuff like that off of that, which that was, cool to experience live, but then you hear about the aftermath of it after, and it's like, oh, okay, that's one way of leaving the company. Then, and I, like you, didn't expect her back at all after that. I was like, okay, this might be it at this point. When it starts costing you body parts, it's like maybe you might want to, rethink your options at that point.
But realistically, the Becky match is going to be against Belair because they didn't finish what they started at SummerSlam.
And they've been building it.
Yes.
They've been building it. It's been a slow simmer. So, yeah. So, yeah. So, I think that in itself will probably be the direction that she goes is Ronda Charlotte for SmackDown.
Yeah.
Because that's on Fox. That's going to get bigger numbers.
Yes.
Bigger everything. Yada.
Yep.
So that's that. With Brock and Roman, you had the main event in 2015, but it was spoiled by Seth Rollins cashing in Money in the Bank. Well, spoiled or made better by Seth Rollins cashing in Money in the Bank. Like I had discussed last night, I thought that actually added to the match because it was the first and only time in WWE history anyone has ever done that, because that added to like the whole, to me, that's the whole reason why you're Money in the Bank winner is you hold on to that thing until WrestleMania. And then right when both guys are laid out in the middle of the WrestleMania main event, you hit the music and you cash in because, you got the chance to win the title at WrestleMania and you make that thing a triple threat.
Okay, but that doesn't add to the match. It adds to the moment. There's a difference.
Mm-hmm.
Because the moment you can watch on a YouTube clip and in 3 minutes you're finished because
Yeah.
you got the gist of it.
Yeah.
The match is the entire duration of what happens in between the ropes.
Mhm.
And that goes out the window as soon as Seth Rollins comes out with the briefcase.
Right.
So, like, what the example I like to use is you can watch the moment where Eddie Guerrero wins the belt against Brock Lesnar way back in the day. You can watch that moment, sure, but you want to watch the whole match. You can go back for the whole 20-minute match because other things happen too. And it tells a whole story from front to back. That's more than a moment. It's an entire package deal. That's what I like to see in my wrestling is things you want to go back and watch the entirety, not just the little YouTube clip or the little Twitter thing that you can finish within a couple of seconds.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So I see absolutely no fault with that logic because that is what it is. It's the world that we live in now.
Didn't I?
So what's that?
I just blew up your brain, didn't I?
No, I agree with it.
Okay.
You know, and I'm thinking of them, you know, if anything I can add to that, and you put it so eloquently that I'm like, I don't think I can. So there we go. And
maybe that's our sign to wrap things up.
I believe it is because there are no questions. So we are good to go.
Right.
That's it. So again, if you dig this type of content, follow us, tinyurl.com/Nitromaniac TV. I am working on getting a bunch of these converted over to audio and thrown up onto SoundCloud as well. So you can take them along in your iPods or phones or Androids or whatever the hell the kids are listening to these days. Walkmans, I don't know. Anyway, there we go. So that will be when I do that, I'll post that up in the Facebook group, and those links will be ready to go. I have a back catalog of like something like 10 or 12 shows that I still got to post. So I hope to get on that, if not this week, over February as well, and just stack things up as they go along. And yeah, so subscribe up, and we're on the road to 200. Once we hit 200, like we did for 100, I'll do up a special Nitro steak or something for 200 to help celebrate 200. So spread the links around. That's what you got to do. That's it. What's your Twitter?
They can catch me at TMLOUTAN. I want to smoke. Bring it.
Is there any smoke to be brought for this one?
If there is, gotta bring it.
Yes, that's right. Because I think we talked about the majority of the smoke here, and that's it. So,
definitely.
So that's that. So, man, it was a great weekend. It was awesome hanging out with you last night, watching the Rumble in person. It was great. We'll do that again somewhere down the line. You know, maybe for a night for WrestleMania this year, or whatever, or maybe somewhere in the future. We'll see what happens. But it was good stuff.
And maybe somewhere down the road we can introduce the impressionist known as Craig.
Yeah, we might just. Hey, the invite's open. We'll fire up the live stream one night just for and giggles and
That'd be fun
for no particular reason, and just pick his brain and see what he can do. It
would be fun, man.
It'll be great. It'll be awesome stuff. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, happy wrestling watching. We'll catch you guys next time here on Nitromaniac TV's Wrestling Unlimited. You do take care. Be safe. You can hit me up on Twitter at Kellen Nitro. It's across all my socials. We'll see you next time here on the channel. See ya.